week, and I'm telling you, I've been on this diet for a while, and I'm ready for a little bit of pumpkin pie to come off this little bit.
Ooh, I need some more apple butter, Mark.
Oh, well.
You know that apple butter is like...
You know, Tyler forgot to take his to his girlfriend, so...
I might have to swipe that.
Well, I think he asked me the other day, he goes, you think I can mail that? I said, probably, but... you know what? I'll see if Dad's got any more.
You made the best apple butter I've ever had in my life. Do not buy a store-bought. I tried store-bought. It was so good. It was gone in a day. I have been hungering for it ever since. I get that big, fluffy loaf of bread at Kroger's, and then I put some on there.
Well, next time we make it, you need to come over, because there's no apple butter. There's no apple butter better than the apple butter scraped off the side of the kettle after you make it, right after it's ready.
I can only imagine what your house smells like when you're doing that.
Well, it's all outside. You don't do it inside.
You don't do it? What?
No, you do it all outside over an open fire.
Man, your house would smell so good.
Well, you're making 20.
I tell you what.
I mean, we got a kettle that's like 20 gallons.
I'm coming over. You got to learn me how.
It's easy. It's fun.
Speaking of,
it takes a lot of time.
I saw another good recipe. It hit me on like Reels on Facebook today, and what they did is they took this big old brisket, or it was like a roast, right? So it just pulled apart, and all they did was put brown gravy seasoning on top of it, and they put a bunch of mushrooms in there. They took parchment paper, covered that up, and then they put 4 big baked potatoes and 4 pieces of corn on there, and put the lid on it. Let it sit all day. You had baked potato, corn, and that nice shredded apart. It just was so good. I was like, okay, we're making that this weekend coming up, because I got family coming in and I got to feed them every day.
Very good.
Turkey's one thing, but...
So what are y'all doing for Thanksgiving? Y'all got plans?
So, family's coming in, so obviously driving on the Thursday makes it kind of hard to do the dinner on Thursday. So we're going to do it on Saturday, especially because my daughter niece lives over on the other side, and she's got her family now over there with her boyfriend.
So they're coming in
Saturday.
Next
Saturday.
Saturday.
We'll do it. Yeah, we'll eat on Saturday, but sister's coming down from Chicago, so it'll be a good time.
Traditionally, Kathy and I usually host my family at our house on Thanksgiving, but this year we were up in the air whether we were going to be home or not, because Kathy's dad's 80th birthday is coming up. So
wow!
So
congratulations.
So we were contemplating going up there on the weekend. So we thought, well, we'll eat dinner here and then we'll head up there and celebrate his birthday. But I think we're going to go the following weekend now, so that so we'll be home the whole weekend. So, but in the meantime, my sister is going to be hosting at her house in Louisville, so we'll go up there and have our turkey day and stuff, and then we'll get back down here. Do you shop any on Black Friday?
So I do for particular things. Like, I know we refresh electronics every like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Especially like iPad and stuff like that, just because of the newer generation, or like the M2 chip. And if it's a good deal, I'll probably go in and upgrade, and then hand me down the other stuff. Especially with Lillian coming up, it'd be nice to put the extra iPad in the car or something like that, so she watch.
I used to love going. I used to love
early
doing
in the morning.
Oh yeah, back in the day when it was like you get up, everything opened at like 5 a.m. on Friday morning, and we would get up and we would go, and I just liked being out and seeing the people and just experiencing it.
So I don't mind that. I used to love that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really necessarily looking for the deals, but I just loved being out and around the people. But
yeah, I mean, every now and then you found a good deal that you're like, hey, but I liked being out.
And but COVID kind of changed a lot of that for me.
I think them being even before COVID, they started opening on Thanksgiving, and it's like, let people have a day off.
Yeah,
that being open on Thanksgiving. That
was the whole point of like Black Friday. We were all cooped up on Thursday.
Yeah, and then almost everybody had the next day off. So hey, let's go hit the stores. And now it's like they've kind of gone to everybody's going in out Thursday afternoon. It's like. A lot of people haven't even had their Thanksgiving dinner yet. So now it's forced everything to be at noon or 1 o'clock so that you can go hit the stores at 3. Yeah. And it's like, so you're missing the family piece of Thanksgiving now. Because, that's right. I mean, I get it. You're going out with family, but there's something about just sitting around with your family and talking about things and
watching the football game. Everybody passes out. from tryptophan.
And
So, it's an interesting you bring that up, but I will tell you, I love the competitiveness of the markets now, the digital online shopping, and not having to fight the crowds.
That's changed a lot. Yeah, that's changed a lot because we do a lot more shopping online. I remember when it first, Amazon was first becoming big, and 'cause I used to buy books from Amazon when it first.
Oh yeah,
that's I bought many books.
If you don't have digital now, like a Kindle, that I pay the subscription, I can get as many books as I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
It works great with the kids.
And so, and I do it. I like to do the books on audiobooks. So I do. So I do the audio.
Downloads digital. Yeah.
And so, but anyway, it's like at first I liked being able to touch the things that I bought.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I got over that. It's like I buy it. Once you see that you can return something pretty easy,
becomes easier.
It becomes easier. Yeah.
And I will not lie. Usually, I will check something out if it's on a storefront's shelf. Yeah. And I'll compare with my app. But if
it's cheaper online, you buy it online.
Well, yeah, I buy it online, but I checked it out. Yeah, it is what I want, and then I'll order it. But I'm not rushing around the store to go shopping. It's funny. I was driving with the kids the other day, and they're like, "Where are you gonna go?" And I said, "Son, we don't go to the store to go shopping. We go to the store to get what we need, and we leave."
Yeah.
We don't go in there. Well, I know they got a lot of shiny things on the shelf, but we don't go to the store unless we need something.
Yeah.
And I said, well, otherwise we look.
Sometimes we don't even go when we need something. Sometimes we don't even go.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's like I can squeeze another day or two out.
That's right.
We'll wait for it to get to me. I mean, we even buy our toilet paper nowadays.
Same. Bulk comes in the boom.
I buy it from Sam's, and Sam's will deliver it to me. So
that's
not deliver good. Or ship it.
Same, yeah.
So, and a lot of times for our regular stuff, we'll go, we'll dial into Sam's, pick out our normal, monthly gets or whatever the things that we need, shaving cream and all that good stuff.
So my new thing now is Saturday dollar store. $5 off coupon that you get through the week, right? And then you get the digi coupons first for an item, so Loves, right?
Yeah.
3 Huggies.
Well, so I'll get you're on that trip. So.
I'm on that trip, but so there's a digi coupon. You get a $5 off coupon, and if you spend $40, you get $10 off. So
you're definitely spending
4 of those Pampers or Huggies are $11 a piece at 4, which makes up a big box, which is $45 to $49 at Kroger's.
Right.
So it's $44 right there. By the time I get my $10 off coupon, a digi coupon, and then the manufacturer coupon, and I take the coupons on the dollar store and I go to the individual checkout, and I just keep swiping it. As long as it's going to give me a coupon credit, I keep swiping it over and over and over until I get the dollar amount down, and I deposit them in the thing, and then I check out. So I might get it all down to $5 if I'm lucky.
Man, yeah, that's the parenting 101, right? When you have littles. Oh my gosh! You have to be able to look for all those little deals and little niche things that you can save $1 because it's expensive for diapers and things.
You know what's worse about diapers, Mark? This is gonna be a little graphic for you folks, but they invented this thing called a diaper genie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you know how much you spend on Pampers when you have to go empty the diaper genie?
Yeah.
Because it's like you're hauling out a dead body. You know what I mean? By the time you fill that sucker up, it just keeps wrapping them up. And by the time you drag that out, and it's very handy and easy. You keep it very sanitary and clean. But you pull that thing out, it's this big old snake of nothing but poop-filled diapers and pee-filled diapers. It feels as heavy as a human being by the time you carry it out the trash can. But, I mean, whoever invented that, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it just put them in your house. Your entire house will smell like baby diaper. If you put one into the regular trash can.
Oh my gosh, I know it.
It used to be like you put it in the trash and you put it in put it in a paper bag or a plastic bag and tie it up as good as you can, and then take it on out to the outside.
I don't know how we went from eating good food to diapers, but I guess
we started talking about littles and saving money. So
yeah.
But hey, we just finished up the election. We've had a couple of we've had a week and a little over a week to think about it and what's going on and things. And we did an analysis last week.
Sure.
And We saw a couple things in the paper.
I wanted to talk about that tonight with you. So
So I mean, the first thing I wanted to talk about is on the front page of the Messenger today. They show that we had a 35.8% turnout for Meade County, and I looked at that and I could have sworn that we were at 36.3%. I'm trying to see where my number is here.
You think there was an update from the clerk's office?
Well, I don't think there was an update exactly because I remember I got this from the clerk's office.
Sure.
You can do a you can do a request and get this. I'm sorry, I didn't get this from the clerk's office. I actually got this off the Secretary of State's website.
Right.
But this is the same report that the clerk gets.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it. They had trying to see the number here, and forgive me, I forgot my glasses at the house.
Well, you want me to read it? I've got mine.
Yeah, here.
Which line?
I don't know. I'm looking for the total number of voters.
All right,
on there somewhere.
Well, you talk us through what was in the paper while I look it up.
All right. So I mean, the front end said 35.8%. They're talking about the Meade County's eligible voters. 35.8% of Meade County's eligible voters made a difference in this November's election. So that number, believe it or not, now in 2000 was it 2000. What was the last governor's race? Was in 2019. So in 2019, the race, the governor, we had 43.6%, 43.5%.
Yeah.
From Meade County, eligible voters came out and voted. This time it was only around 36.3, 36.6. But traditionally, the governor's race, it's usually by just usually have it by, it's usually somewhere around 30 to 32%.
Sure.
So 35.8 is actually still a pretty good number, but I think we've kind of come back down off of our high a little bit from when we had Donald Trump running, and we had so much going on with COVID, and we had so many people show up in those 2016, 17, 18, 19, and then of course COVID hit us in 20, and we had tons of people voting, but we're not sure who was actually voting and filling out ballots and things like that. But that's another story for another day. But now it's kind of looks like it's gone back down to normal. Now, of course, we have more voters now in Meade County than we did in 2019. It's not a ton more, but there are more. So that 36% is actually a little bit better than when you compare it to the 43% of last night. Still, 43% is way more voters, but we had it's when you're comparing apples to apples, you gotta remember, you gotta adjust the numbers for the total population at the time. So
the straight ticket voters is amazing. I think for the Republican Party was 71.12% of the voters straight ticket that showed up to vote.
Yeah. So what
71% of the straight ticket votes were Republican.
Let me see if I have that analysis that I did. I think it has all the numbers on it.
Well, I can't find your roll-up number on here, but
hold on just a second. I think I have.
Oh, sorry. What the interesting article that you were referring to in the paper, I saw it was in the note to the editor. He did a pretty good job asking a tough question. I felt like he didn't get his whole point put in there. Maybe they cut it down. I don't know, but we'll talk about him in just a second. While you're
So when we added it all up, there were 20. Again, I can't see my glasses. 20. Where's my numbers at? Here we go. Meade County voters, 22,830 total voters. We had 8,372 cast their ballots. And that comes up to 36.67% by my math. I don't know if I did that, if that was right or wrong, but I think that's correct. So 36.67. I'm not sure where they got their number for 35.8%, but Maybe they didn't add in like the overvotes and the undervotes. So
Right.
An undervote is when somebody doesn't vote for a race. So you have a ticket, a ballot comes in, the ballot they fill everything out, but they leave one race blank, which happens a lot. To give you an idea, the undervotes for the treasurer was 203. There were 203 people filled out a ballot, but they did not fill out the treasurer's race. A lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that, those races weren't as popular as the governor's race. So
Right.
a lot of people, if you ask me, I think it's not a bad thing for people to come in and say, hey, I don't know who these people are. I never saw them. I never really heard a lot from them. And for you to say, well, I'm not gonna pick one over the other because I just don't know who they are. That's not a bad thing. I think a lot of people get the idea that means that 203 people, there might be 203 nefarious ballots out there for governor, but that's not the case. I mean, this is a kind of a normal thing, because it takes a lot of money and a lot of effort to run statewide races. And so you're gonna find from county to county, there's always going to be people who don't necessarily know who these people are who are running on the under ticket because all they've heard is about the governor. We were worried 3 months ago because everybody was talking about the presidential election next year, and nobody was talking about the governor's race.
Right.
And I think that hurt a little bit because it allowed for people to try to get that infusion of information right at the last minute, which means they got that from advertising and television.
I don't know. I'm not trying to go conspiracy theory or anything. I just find it very difficult to have that many Republican voters for all of the other candidates, but you don't want to vote for the governor.
No, it's the other way around. People voted for governor, but they didn't vote in the other races.
No, I'm talking about the number of Republican voters that voted for all of the Republican candidates, but the lower number of Republican voters towards the governor's race.
Well, I mean,
if you take the total sum of
I don't know if we don't know if they're Republican or Democrat voters.
That was a lot of. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't Republicans that didn't run. I'm not saying that there weren't Republicans that voted for Andy Beshear, because I'm sure there were a lot of them. But the question comes down to, so how many Republican voters did we have? Did it say? I don't think that report has.
You need the state, yeah.
We have to, and we won't get that until like February. So we won't get that analysis until February. Now February we'll be able to make that determination because we'll be able to look and see. In February we'll be able to get the numbers that say, hey, this is. We'll be able to look at each individual voter in Meade County and find out if they voted in this election or not. But that doesn't come out until like January, February. And then we'll be able to do that analysis. Now that's a good analysis to do. And I've done it in the past, and it's interesting to see just how many come out. Now the thing is that we have almost 52% Republican voter registration here. So you got to think most of the voters that come out are probably Republican voters, and so your assumption holds up.
Yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is. We can't prove that yet, and I'd like to be able to prove that before we, start going down that trail.
Well, I'll give you an example. Just in Louisville, Jefferson County, right? 155,701 voters voted for Stevenson in the Attorney General race, right? And in that county, 97,113 voted for the Republican, right? 61 to 38%. When I switch over to the governor race, just as a comparison, hold on a second, just in Louisville County, it was, 179,000 for Andy Beshear and 76,000.
So 13,000 more people voted for
governor.
For Andy.
Yeah, but there's 76,908
Stevenson. I mean, it's the same. It holds up the same here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons that people do. I mean, we have to face it. I mean, the negative ads and things that Andy Beshear's team ran against Daniel Cameron. And you also have to look back all the way back into the primary at what Kelly Craft ran against Daniel as well.
Right.
And so that kind of piled on, and it helped turn, some people away from the polls. It helped turn some people, because, people are like, well, I don't want to vote for Andy Bashir, and I don't want to. So that could be right there worth, 3 or 4% of the voters that didn't come out. Because they were
our
just
Republican
they were just turned
voters
off.
need to turn out. I mean, these smaller counties like Perry County, Knott County, they turned blue with the governor race. All of these counties.
Now, a lot of those are in your coal country, and that's where all the floods were. And they looked at, the governor came down here and gave us checks. They forget, they don't realize that the governor doesn't vote for those checks. Those checks came from the Republican legislature.
Yeah.
And the governor shows up with the lieutenant governor. So that's, Andy Bashir won.
Got it.
He is going to be our governor for the next 4 years. We have to continue to work hard to keep our progress, because I'm telling you right now.
Well, I'm not trying to cause a rift between who was the right.
No, I don't think you are.
I think
there's a lot of people out there that are worried about this, and it's like, listen, we have to go out and work hard for our legislatures and continue to get them elected, because when it comes down to this, our legislatures did the right thing. We talked to Nancy a little bit last week, and as our House leader, as our House
representative,
our representative in the House of Representatives in Kentucky, she gave us a little insight about, hey, we have to. Let me see here. I'm getting about 4 or 5 texts in a row here, so let's make sure
I got audio.
Nope. Nancy. Speaking of Nancy, she sent us some info here.
All right, here's.
Let me forward this to you.
Live feed. Email.
So she sent me a text. 3:22 to 23. What is that?
We still have audio.
Yeah, sorry guys. What's that?
I was telling them we're still here.
Yeah, I'm just sorry about that. I got a text there, and well, it's interesting information, but I'm not prepared to talk about it. So so I read through it real quick. So
she could call in.
She could, but then we still wouldn't be prepared to talk about it. So
got it.
I want to make sure that we look up and get a good idea. But so here's the thing. Daniel Cameron was a great candidate.
Sure.
There's a lot of lies that were told about him in advertising. There were some disgusting Uncle Tom references made by Andy Bashir's team, and it was very ugly. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons that people came out to vote and voted for Andy Bashir over Daniel Cameron. And I don't know. I don't know that we have any concrete information about why they did, but they did, and so we need to evaluate that. We need to understand our job as the Republican Party is to put good candidates together, to get them make sure they're prepared, get them money in their pockets. See, the Republican Party. We don't get a ton. Everybody talks about we get all this corporate money, but there's really not a ton of corporate money that comes out of the Republican Party.
We've been outspent.
We are very much grassroots.
We've been.
We don't get George Soros type money. We don't get. We don't get all
New
these.
World Order.
We don't get any of these. Clinton Foundation monies and things like that coming into our into our side of the equation. Everybody thinks that Republicans get all this money, but we really don't.
Right.
We are very much grassroots oriented. So it means that we can't run, and not just the money that comes into the campaigns, but we're talking about the money that comes in on behalf of the campaigns by running ads and things against our candidates. And it's very difficult. I mean, this whole thing. I think that we have to really look hard at how we're running our campaigns and things and make some changes. And talking to Nancy, we talked about, hey, we basically ran this campaign the same way they did against the same way we ran Amendment 2 last year in 2021, or I'm sorry, 2022.
Yep.
And if you look, the governor's race turned out about the same amount of the same amount of votes, the same amount of difference between the two. And it's like, so we didn't do the right things with the money that we had.
Right.
And we have to be able to put real, true information in voters' hands. And I think voters will make the right decisions. But you have to come up against some of this just garbage that they put out, because people will just eat it up if there's nothing else against it. Nobody's talking against it. They'll just eat it up and they'll lap it up, and everybody will, everybody will be, you'll make bad decisions because you won't have the right information in front of you. But anyway, so moving on, there was one gentleman put in he put in an article, or he sent in a letter to the editor, and he spoke a little bit about, about the difference in the governor's race votes versus the undercard. And there's a lot of good reasons why that is, and it happens almost all the time. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that people just don't know who they are. And they've not paid attention to those under races. So they don't make it, if you don't know the candidates, I think it's the right thing to do is not to vote in that race. But I would rather you just vote for my guy. But that's just me.
Right.
On the other side of that, in that same article, that same letter, the gentleman talked about what happened out at Flaherty. Not Flaherty,
Paineville.
And that how many people were interrupted. Well, we actually know about that. So we know that there was a line of about 30 or so people there. People were, if they didn't have time to stay, they were asking to come back. It was the machine was down for an hour and a half.
Right.
And a lot of that had to do with, I'll tell you exactly what happened. The scanner, they only had one scanner at that location because it was a smaller location. And so people put their ballot in, all of a sudden it kicked the ballot and said, oh, it's an invalid scan.
Right.
So they said, oh, well, they tried it again. And again, it kicked it back out. So then they tried another one. Again, kicked it back out. So those two ballots, and what happened, there was two people that they tried, and both of them had to leave after a few minutes, and they couldn't get the scanner up and running. And so they called back, and they immediately started working on getting another scanner out there.
Right.
But here's the kicker. The Board of Elections has to set up they have to be there when it gets set up, and the Board of Elections just so happened to be at Paineville when this occurred, or right after this occurred. So they were going out to the Republican and the Democrat representatives were going out and checking the polls just to check on things and see how things were going, and which they do that from time to time, and they just happened to pull into Paineville around the time this happened, a little bit after this happened, I believe. And the thing is, they had to come all the way back to Brandenburg to get the machine out, because they had to witness the machine getting set up. And then then they got the machine set up, and then they had to go out and watch it be set up out in Paineville. So that whole process took about an hour and a half. And
chain of custody, right?
Yeah, you have to watch chain of custody. So that's the whole point is, guys, we have Republicans and Democrats working together to oversee this election. And not just that, but we also are allowed to have observers who come, and we had the Republican Party had observers in I think 118 or 119 of 120 counties that could watch the numbers coming in. They can watch over the process, and you can kind of oversee that, just see what's going on, make sure what's going on. So we had people. I just want to make sure that we rest assured and make sure everybody's understands that we did have people there watching this process, making sure nothing nefarious was going on.
It was too legit.
It was very legit, and there was no reason for us to think otherwise. But there are things that happen, and Susan has already stated that next year, this is the first election that Susan's gone through leading the election. And so she's taking notes, and she's already made the determination that next year she will have at least two scanners at every location.
Yeah.
So that at least it'll, if one goes down, the other one's available to keep the process moving.
Right.
And so that's where it that's what happens. But we learn, and we learn through the mistakes and or through adversity, and that's what happens. So.
Well,
new topic.
Well, I think going forward, I thought we did a great job in Meade County. I know we talked about this last week, but, I think it's just getting our voters to realize that these local elections are important, and don't sit at home. Go vote. We need more people. If more people that are Republican voters, and I know we'll never get 100% of our base to go and vote, but if we did, how amazing would that be, right? Because these bigger cities that we all complain about, rurality wise, that control these elections because they're in the masses, right? If our voters truly said their voice instead of talked about it and voted about it, we would have actually overpowered those cities, and our voices in the rural communities would have stood up and made a louder sound than those cities that are controlled by these Democratic Party groups and stuff like that.
Well, we have to start thinking differently about rural elections. A lot of people aren't getting the information in their hands. A lot of people, a lot of your volunteers are, they have to go to work. They have to, these are people who work a regular 9-to-5 job or an 8 to, a lot of times it's, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. jobs, right? They're working, 10, 11, 12 hours. And so it makes it difficult for people to volunteer to get out and to go door to door and just talk to people and let people know what's going on in these elections. And we try to do that. We try to get volunteers to do that. And it's been tough, especially it's easier in local elections because each candidate is here.
Right.
And they are, pulling from their supporters. And so during those years, we can get those voters in, and we can get them motivated, or those volunteers in, and they can get them motivated. And we just have to provide tools. And so now looking at from the party standpoint, from the Republican Party, we have to think a little differently going forward about how do we get the people out there? How do we communicate our message? Because you can have one or two people try to go door to door and hit every door in Meade County.
Right.
But it's better if you can have, 10, 12, 15, or even more. And so we have to figure that out. That's the piece we have to figure out. We have to go put this, we got a lot of negative backlash from our papers this year. Some unexpected. I mean, I expect Democrats I expect some from the Democrats, but I don't expect people to call me and say, I don't want this delivered to my house. And it's like, well, it's just a political ad, right? That's what we're talking about. So, I even consulted, an attorney about one of the calls because they said they wanted to sue us if we ever sent them anything. I'm like, well, how can that be?
Because they can't do that.
They can't sue us. So, anybody can try to file a lawsuit, but it's not. You would be violating my First Amendment rights to be able to political speech.
That's right.
Not to say I can't send anything out
through the mail.
Through the mail. So when everybody else can, so you'd have to sue everybody that sends you something.
If you don't want the junk mail that you get from like creditors and stuff like that, you actually file a thing, and every 5 years you have to file it, and it makes your address unavailable to those types of lenders. It doesn't
apply to political speech, though.
No, it does not. It does
as
not.
a matter of fact, political speech doesn't. And the thing is that we don't target anybody with our newspapers and things.
No, they go every door.
They go to every door. So we give the post office enough to hit the routes, and then the drivers then take them and they just put one in every box until they run out. But it is that's protected speech. We can do that, and we try to educate people. I mean, I had one person call me and say they were disgusted that we had Rand Paul on there, and I'm like, to me, Rand Paul is not as nearly as controversial around here than even the governor's race was.
Right.
But But they surely were upset about Rand Paul. So I'm like, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. But I understand. People have their opinions. That's what politics is all about. Is your opinion on things.
So moving forward for Meade County. I know we got a special announcement that's going to come up pretty soon. We're going to have a live guest on. I'm kind of excited about that. And I think, I know in national news, they did get to the point where they passed the budget in the House, and they expect it to go through the Senate and up to D.C. So hopefully...
It's actually already through the Senate.
So, it's going to the House, the White House.
It's another continuing resolution.
Yeah, it is, but it should get us through to January.
And then January is when the big fight's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so they're going to, so come January.
So I'm employed for another month.
You're employed for another, or at least getting paid.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. Is you're still employed, but you may not get paid.
Right. Thanks for... Yeah.
So you're going to have a paycheck through the holidays. But, it's really a... it's really I didn't like the fact that we did this continuing resolution back last December, right before we got took over the House, and we could have stopped it in the Senate, and we didn't, because it would have, because all we wanted to do is get it through to January and let our House, have a say when we had basically a 50-50 Senate at the time,
right.
But it's going to take some. It's going to take some. It's going to be a lot of hard work going into that budget for going forward, because we can't keep spending money the way we are.
Telling you, I don't know how we, as a government, got this far down the road.
How do you get out?
I don't know.
Because at some point somebody's got to say, there's just not enough money to pay you this.
You have to do a war.
Eventually, it's going. How are you gonna?
I don't know.
How are you gonna say this group is no longer going to get their dollars?
The old, I don't know.
And somebody, because it'll actually absolutely.
Please explain how we borrow money to give money.
Yeah, I mean, we do that all the time.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a real shame that's how.
Yeah.
That's how our country is run.
Yeah.
We try really hard. At least, we try really hard. When we go into debt, we try to pay it off.
Yeah, sure.
And I've been there where our debt continues to grow, and you're like, oh, how do I turn this off? What it is you got to stop buying stuff.
Yeah, right.
You got to stop. You got to stop looking at. If you can't afford to buy, movies. I mean, Kathy and I used to buy movies all the time.
Oh, right.
We were, we have.
I have 100 of them I got for, I'm sorry, it's a little over 700 movies, because this is how bad it is, right? The people that collect all these movies. I got over 700 DVDs and Blu-rays for $100 off Facebook.
Really?
On Facebook.
Yeah, so I have about 1,100 at my house, and that are all boxed up, because I've already pulled them all down digitally. Yeah, I know, right? And so but I keep them because, by rule, I think that, I need to have that license to say I can have that copy as my backup copy.
That's right.
And so that's how, and I have a server at my house that I can put it on any of my TVs or any of my devices.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
you might have to help me set mine up for that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
you just need to have an old PC.
I'm still trying to figure out where I put all these movies.
I mean, you can actually run it off of a. I put them in totes.
Yeah, mine are in totes, but they take up too much room. I've got an entire 7-foot section. It's 6 or 7 feet long, and it's about 5 feet tall of totes full of movies that we've had. I used to have a 300 disc changer for DVDs. I think I need to get like a room that's my movie room.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd just glue stick the backside of each one of them to the wall, and you just go in with the little thing and flip it open to get the DVD out, and you close it back up, and it becomes wallpaper.
And, well, I mean, it's kind of cool until you get tired of it.
Yeah, I guess. But I guess it's like your wall full of movie posters. Yeah. Maybe I can put them together so that the pictures create a collage.
You have to do them on Velcro or something.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I could do them in a collage so you can actually make a picture out of all the, how they do those big pictures with the pictures, right?
Yeah. So it's But Kathy and I were big movie people for a long time. We had a big VHS collection,
Sure.
and that kind of taught us a lesson because the VHS, we almost couldn't even give those things away at yard sales and stuff. Even the Disney movies didn't sell very well.
Right.
And then, but we started, started buying. I bought my first DVD that I bought. And I don't know why we're going down this trail tonight, but it's kind of an interesting little topic.
I'm curious what yours was. I know what my first DVD was.
My first DVD that I bought was, let's see, the first DVD that I bought. I can't. I don't know if it's actually my very first one, but it was one of the first 3 or 4. Was the movie Armageddon.
Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise, NASCAR, because
I didn't buy that till it was in the $5.
But it was digital, and you had all the sound effects. So you wanted to hook up. That's when you had the big tall rack stereo and everything else. But anyway.
I still have mine. Mine is I've got an Onkyo.
I wish I would
full size. And then I've got the speakers in the ceiling and out the front. And
I'm kicking myself in my butt right now because I've been searching. Records are coming back, and I had the full rack Panasonic. I had the record set. I had the reel-to-reel. I had the radio deck, the dual cassette deck, and the 8-track deck. Had them all in decks, individual decks, and all in a rack.
You must have been in the Army.
Yeah. Anyway,
it sounds like I don't know. I mean, that's a stereotype. But I've seen.
It's funny. It wasn't mine. It was my dad's who gave it to me.
Oh, that's funny.
And I kept it for years. And I was like, I get tired of hauling this around because
it's a lot of stuff. And nowadays everything's digital.
But now it's.
But don't you miss it?
It's very retro.
Didn't you miss it?
Especially the reel to reel because I even knew how to splice reel to reel so you could make dubs.
I mean, we used to do. My mom and dad had a. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. But we did have a Super 8, video camera, and so we had a projector and screen and stuff like that. So I remember the job for the splicing is the same.
Yeah, same.
It's the same thing. You have a splicer, and you don't splice straight. You have to splice at an angle. At a 45 usually. Right. So it's like it's interesting stuff. Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Wow. We're reminiscing down memory lane there, huh?
Yeah. So, but we, once I started buying DVDs, it was like, well, I didn't buy any VHS anymore. And then, I use the Vudu service that Walmart came out with. Now it's owned by Fandango.
Yeah, it used to be Fandango. Now it's Vudu.
But you know why? Because you could actually take all your discs and convert them to digital.
Really?
Yeah.
All my discs I've got, I can.
You can actually for a couple bucks.
Yeah.
It's like $3 to $5 depending on what version you want to upgrade to.
Okay.
You can, and as long as it's in the catalog, you can update that. You can actually add it to your collection.
So I'm gonna admit I'm very bad at this, but do you know over here they used to have the movie rentals over here at the and when I was here back in 2012. My digital collection grew really fast off of those guys. Do you know why?
Because
they left the digital codes inside of the movies when you would rent them, and I was downloading those bad boys like crazy.
As long as they were still active.
Yeah, I would try it. You rented it, took it off the shelf, and I would throw it in.
Like, hey, I wonder if that works.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And every time I would rent the movie, I'd just do the digital download.
So just admitting to a little bit of. Maybe it's not piracy, but
I rented that code.
Well, I got you.
I rented it,
and you used it.
I used it.
You still have it.
Sorry, they left it in. Sorry, they left it in the binder when they rented it out.
I hear you.
I'm just saying.
I know.
They're out of business, so it's hard for them to come out.
Well, why are they out of business?
Not because it's
you
digital.
Never read that again?
Because digital.
No, I know it's
digital.
I know why it is.
So hey, Christmas, we got it coming up.
Christmas party. We are right now. We're looking at either the 14th or the 18th of December. We had that set down as the 18th, but a lot of people have asked us, "Hey, can we pull that into maybe the that Thursday before?" So we're working on that. I did find out our venue is available. I just got to make sure our caterer is available. And then
Robert's Family Farm again.
Yeah, we'll be at Robert's Family Farm.
Love that place.
And we will do Christmas. The usual suspects. I don't think we'll have the the madrigals because I didn't have a date. They contacted me about it, so we're looking for some entertainment. So
I'll talk to Carly.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe we can
Christian music.
Yeah, I mean maybe. I mean I was thinking maybe I would like to see I'm gonna tell you I like to see a little string quartet type. I'd like to see if I can
like
find
the 6-string soldiers, man. Aren't those awesome?
Just if I can find somebody, if I can find a little string quartet to come in, little violin, little cello, and just and just play, and do a little Christmas concert or something.
I hear
nice.
you. I hear you. Or even a classical guitarist, soloist. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something.
Yeah, I got you.
Something I like. I don't know about you, but I like string music.
I do too.
I like classical piano too.
Yeah.
But my favorite is classical string. I love the strings, and I don't know why I never learned. Well, I do know why because I don't have.
Well, I tell you what, if you're watching this now, chime in later or throw it in the chat or respond with a comment, and we'll take a look at the who commented and go from there. So.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting that kind of stuff, and and I know this seems like it was kind of an odd show today because we're just kind of
reminiscing
a little bit. And,
it's all good.
This is what happens after you get out of a hard fought election, and now you're kind of relaxed and you can kind of get back to normal and be a normal person again. And I really enjoy this time of year. And I love Christmas.
I'm feeling it.
I'm trying to. I'm already getting my Christmas decorations.
Trees
going.
are coming out this weekend for me.
I'm going to. I'm looking to move my office from one of our bedrooms to another bedroom because the one bedroom has the big arch window in it, and I want my tree to go in that window this year. So that's what that's my goal is to have that set up here in the next 2 weeks. It's okay, Kathy. I was going to start it this weekend. Start getting my office moved. The only problem is I really want to put down hard, some vinyl plank flooring in the house.
Nice.
And,
I'm ready to do that too, but
I don't like the carpet. And Kathy's like, "Oh, it'll be cold on your feet." I'm like, "Oh."
Nah.
I said it won't be that.
Throw down a throw rug.
I mean, yeah.
And you can change those out as often as you like.
Exactly. So we can. So we can figure that out. And but it'll look nice. It'll feel nice. And the only thing is the rooms will echo more. So you have to deal with that, like in your home theater and stuff. But I've got where my son Tyler sleeps right now in the basement, and I've already got that wired for sound and everything. So when he moves out, that's going to be the home theater room.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. So it's only like it's like 16 by 16 or something like that room, which is.
So I'm hoping by the time after the new year, this studio is actually going to be a little bit of an update with our logo and some other stuff. So things to come. We'll see what happens. But
yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to this Christmas. I'm looking forward to our Christmas party. I'm looking forward to, a new year. We're going to all get together for New Year's. I think it's going to be a good time. I've got like 22 people on that list.
Wow, it must be a heck of a party you throw, Mark.
So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to have.
Now, are we going to be in character? We have to play out our
everybody. Yeah,
oh, well,
yeah. It's
last guy I was a Bernie Beaver. I'm a boozer. I have all the wine and spirits from under the table that you need. Bernie Boozer.
We will have. We'll send you the invitations. We'll have your character on it.
All right.
And. It'll give you costume ideas and themes and things like that.
So any clue as to what?
I haven't picked it out yet, so we're working on that. I've been trying to work on that, but I have to settle the.
So we have to wait for the invitation to find out.
Yes. Oh. And you'll get it sometime.
But Mark,
right
I'm
after.
your close friend. I don't get to find out sooner. Nah.
Anyway, guys, thank you all for listening tonight. Thanks for putting up with us, and hopefully we gave you a little bit of insight, and not just into the politics, but who we are and the things that we like, and we'll be back next week. We're trying to get not next week. Sorry, next week we will take off because it is the Thanksgiving holiday, so we will take that week off, be with our family. We hope you all can do the same.
Absolutely. Now, I will tell you this. You got to stay tuned. You got to keep watching because we do have special guests coming on in the near future with a big, the big announcement, and you're going to hear it right here first.
Yeah.
So I won't tell you, but just keep watching.
That's right.
Listen, you guys have a great night.
All right. Monday night is our regular scheduled meeting for the Republican Party, so come out and see us.
Monday. This
coming Monday. Yeah, we are not canceling it. It is, and you'll have our tickets available for the Christmas party. So
good night,
come see us.
everybody.
Good night, everyone.